So, you found yourself on a new project, ready to start with test-driven development, and there are no signs of unit tests to be seen. Should you actually work to implement test-driven development? In my personal opinion, the answer is almost always going to be definitely yes. But there are a few questions you should ask yourself first. What if you're assigned on a project only for a couple of days, maybe a week, and it's a very large, big project? It's probably not going to be best use of your time installing a framework, setting up all the foundations, probably having to refactor a whole bunch of code if you're only going to be there for a couple of days. That makes sense, so your effort is probably better spent elsewhere. If you're a junior developer straight out of school, never written a unit test, you get into a team and everybody has this deep-seated hatred against unit testing, probably not in a position to change stuff or take stuff in your own hands. Some alarm bells should definitely go off if no one even wants to think about developing with unit tests, but okay. If your application that you started on is about to set fire to the very fabric of space, you should probably solve that first before trying to implement test-driven development, but be ready to advise them to write tests for the problem to prevent the second coming of a set apocalypse. Also, what can be a problem is you come into a project and there might be other stuff that you can fix first that is more easily fixable, like where are the features coming from, how are they being represented, are the features being logged, bugs tracked, what's the branching strategy like, stuff like that. They may prove to be lower hanging fruit to actually improve the project. So you've decided my project will benefit from test-driven development. In theory, you do not have to convince anyone. You can just start writing tests for the new code that you are adding to the project. And there is definitely nothing wrong with this. But it is probably in your best interest to find additional supporters. Talk with some team members and see who else is interested. The reason for wanting some support is your code might need some refactoring. It's probably not designed to be actually testable. For example, you might have to decouple some systems. You're going to have to install the framework, stuff like that. So your job is to convince your colleagues of the benefits of this effort. You might have to be prepared to face some resistance from some developers that are not yet used to working with unit tests, because people don't like to come out of their comfort zone, especially if nothing is going terribly wrong yet. Remind them of the obvious benefits of having unit tests and point out concrete recent examples of problems that could have been avoided. Explain to them how it could speed up their development and not slow it down. For example, like the indexation example that I said. And most importantly, be prepared to lead by example. Implement a chosen framework on a new branch of the code base. Implement your new feature using TDD. Show them the concrete benefits in their own project.